The rumor that T Grizzly could have got his auntie possibly deleted because she was pregnant by him is starting to spread like a wildfire on the internet. And this rumor came out a couple years ago, but it's starting to resurface again now because one of the guys that's tied to this case, trial started, I think like a day or so ago. And it's crazy because the person that's being charged with the murder for T Grizzly's auntie is tied to OTF. I kind of been going through the comment section on Reddit, YouTube, on a couple videos. People been saying, for a while, just speculating under this conspiracy that T Grizzly might have had his manager pregnant. A few years ago, a lady by the name of Joe Bina, I think if I'm saying her name correct, she was shot and killed sitting inside an Uber parked outside of a house that T Grizzly walked in. He asked her to walk in with him, but she refused. And next thing you know, when he looked back, shots rang out.
Kimberly, tonight we know the Detroit rapper was one of 3 people inside that car when the shots went off. Now, in that shooting, the rapper's aunt died, but he was not injured. Detroit police responded to the area of 3 Mile Drive just off Mack Tuesday night on the city's east side. They were out to collect evidence of multiple bullet casings regarding the deadly shooting here. It turns out someone opened fire on a black Chrysler with 3 people inside. Among those inside the vehicle, Detroit rapper T Grizzly.
We made it out of Lansing after all that happened. After Michigan State, after Hubbard, when our mans told him.
T Grizzly rose to fame when he released his first single, First Day Out. He was nominated for an MTV and BET Awards for the single.
The bands they took from us, Joy Road.
Police don't know if the rapper was the intended target or not, but what's clear, his aunt, who worked as his manager, along with another young man, were all in the vehicle Tuesday night. That's when someone intentionally shot the vehicle, killing the 41-year-old manager. We don't know if anything was stolen or if this was an attempted robbery, but police say the rapper and friends were in the area to visit someone. The investigation shows when the man stepped out of their vehicle, the first of several shots filled the air. We don't know if the rapper was still inside the car when the shots went off or not. Now, T Grizzly's music video has more than 130 million views. Again, the rapper was not injured, but unfortunately, his aunt passed away.
As of late, you've been seeing a lot of guys just tied a knot all of a sudden. The last person I think we saw do it was Lil Durk. When Lil Durk decided to tie the knot with India and settle down, I think in his mind, he kind of knew the walls was closing in. So you got people who looking at T Grizzly when he got married 2 years ago, that was like the dead giveaway. He knew something was about to happen. Like him getting married in a short period of time like that just spelled trouble to people who looking at this on the internet or people who familiar with the situation and just running with this conspiracy of him having to do something with his auntie getting killed because of a weird relationship that they had and her being pregnant. Honestly, I feel like T Grizzly might not have anything to do with his auntie getting murdered in a weird way, but the reason why his reaction or when he talk about this, the reason why his mannerisms are so off or so uncomfortable because it's a real street situation going on. Who's to say that this guy that shot and killed T Grizzly auntie just jumped out the window on his own? I saw a dude today, Truth Teller TV. He made mention of how once this murder happened, a lot of guys from Chicago who was tied to this dude that's supposed to have been killed T Grizzly's auntie, they started cutting them off. Like you started seeing people from Chicago, posting online that, he can't come around, he ain't from here no more and stuff. So that kind of made me feel like if that was the response after the situation happened, like months after, a year or so after, then T Grizzly probably didn't have nothing to do with this in a weird way. It might have been a street situation gone wrong. And this dude just jumped out the window. Let's just say, give an example. What if T Grizzly team of people, his entourage might have been into a little disagreement behind the scenes with OTF and 600 at the time, or the guys tied to 600, tied to Lil Durk or whoever, and didn't nobody know about it. Next thing you know, it escalate the night of the studio session because if you listen to the interview, T Grizzley explains in his interview that he had just left a studio session.
Yeah, so we was at the studio with Guapo and Jay Swan or whatever. And
so something could have happened when he left the studio session where he was in tour with these guys and they had to drop on him, or this dude had to drop on him, or something happened days prior to that leading up to the situation. But to just say that this man was sleeping with his auntie, I'm not gonna run with that, you know, because to just say that on my platform, I'm not just finna just speak weird like that. But you know, I will say I can see how people do look at some things and consider them to be a little suspect simply because, you know, T Grizzley is only the nephew of this lady by marriage. So the way that he promotes it online, you know, you would think that this was his mom's sister, but to clarify, that is not his mom's sister. That's someone that his uncle is married to. I think he said that's his mom's brother's wife. So that's his auntie through marriage. So I can see how people would look at that and go, they're not even blood related. So, you know, who's to say that they didn't mess around? That ain't far-fetched. You know, I can see if they was blood or they was kin, but they're just like a normal person being around. If you, depending on the type of relationship they had, they might have not even had a relationship where he look at her as an auntie or she look at him as a nephew. They probably flirted with each other all the time and snuck around, you know. So there's a lot of ways you can paint the picture once you get clarity on how he related to the lady. But like I say, that's just the internet running with that. I'm not gonna run with that. But you know, I will say, my opinion in this is, I honestly feel like it was just a street situation that T Grizzley is not gonna speak on, because street people be street people at the end of the day. The dude's a street dude. So you can't expect these guys to run to the internet or just give these interviewers, these podcasters, the direct answers that they want. It don't work like that. And you know, I feel like you gotta be a cold-blooded person, and you only gonna get back what you deserve if you bold enough to do something like that and then go make a whole rap song about it. I mean, if you remember, T Grizzley made a song in remembrance of this lady like a few months after she died on YouTube and posted it on YouTube. It was a whole song and everything behind it. Video, visual, everything. So you just gotta be a cold-blooded person or a different type of person to just do something like that. So me personally, I honestly feel like, you know, I'll let Detroit politic on that, because people that I've been seeing in the comments go back and forth about the situation and this being speculated of him having a relationship. People been saying with his auntie, people been saying this for quite some time. All you gotta do is just go through certain little interviews, or even with Sada Baby talking about it and stuff. You know, that's another thing that I feel like stand out to people too, which make people.
What she did twice, we gave her a kiss and left.
What was the situation around her death? It was a shooting, or?
You can't do that one.
Can't do that one? Okay.
Yeah, because that case open, man.
That case is open. Okay, and they haven't solved it yet, so. Okay, I got you. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it ain't no biggie. I don't got no problem with talking about my auntie, you feel me? But once they done with it, you feel me, I'll be the first nigga to talk about whatever motherfuckers want to talk about.
Sada Baby did an interview on Vlad, and looking back at that video, I watched it today, you know, again, I'll just say, these are street guys. So you can look back now after the trial is, you know, going on or whatever the case, somebody's being convicted for it. You look back at these things now and you go, man, at the time they didn't make sense, but now it do. Sada Baby said in his interview with Vlad that once everything is in the clear and the trial is over with and done and whoever's convicted is convicted, he'll speak out more about it. So these be street guys, you know, just trying to figure out how to maneuver when you got cameras in their face and you expect them to speak on certain things, and it's like, I'm dealing with it the best way I know how, on top of me not being able to like clearly speak on it. So don't expect me to get in front of a camera and give you anything other than. And then also too, you know, one of the things that make me feel like it's somewhat of a street beef that's going on is, or something that went on behind the scenes, is because this guy would have never got caught had he not got arrested with the gun that was tied to the murder in Detroit. So when this dude got arrested in Chicago, the gun that was on him was the same exact gun tied to the murder in Detroit. So I kind of feel like, you know, just like I said, leaning towards some weird stuff. I'm just gonna stay on. I feel like it's just a street situation. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this video, man. If you stay to the end, it's T-RaeTv. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, comment down below. Yeah, that's just how I feel, you know. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion, you know. We all entitled to our opinion. I just to put that jacket on him, that weird jacket, to just put this weird jacket on T Grizzly and say that he was sleeping around with a relative, that, you know, there's a relative through marriage, you know, we'll make that clear, and got her pregnant, and to keep this under the rug, sweep this under the rug, or just keep this quiet, he just got the lady knocked off. I can't say that. I'm not gonna run with that. I can see how people would think that based on, you know, being judged by public opinion on the internet, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all these social platforms. But looking at it through a street lens and using street logic in this situation, and just reading into the interview, listening to him say certain things, and listening to Sada Baby say certain things after the situation, and just seeing how it's playing out right now, that this dude is standing trial. If anything, T Grizzly know more than what he's speaking on, but in a street manner, in a street way. And that's just how I feel. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. T-RaeTv.
And I was telling her, like, come in the house. And she like, no, I don't want to go in. I'm begging her to come in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, certain areas, you just can't, you got to move right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't about where you at. I could go anywhere I want to.
Right.
But I got to move right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if I'm moving right, can't nothing happen to me. So I'm telling her to come in the house. She like, no. Because JB was kind of like funny acting about dirty houses.
Okay.
And stuff like that. The house wasn't even dirty, but to her, she just a clean, real clean person.
Okay.
It's like, no, I don't want to go in them people's house. I don't want to sit on their furniture and all that stuff in there. So I'm like, all right, I'll be right back. So I'm knocking on the door. My people's taking so long to come to the door. You know what I'm saying? And they finally come to the door. As soon as I see her, as soon as I see my auntie, she about to open the door, I hear a whole bunch of shots going off.